Hello and welcome back. For returning listeners, you'll notice a dramatic change in the sound of the microphone. Was able to borrow a higher quality one for recording this podcast. Speaking of podcast, on the channel, these were uploaded as just normal videos, but I'm going to transfer them over into being podcasts. So you can listen to them on YouTube Music. You'll also maybe notice that my voice sounds kind of shitty. My throat kind of feels like poop and pee today, so just gonna have to deal with that. Hopefully it'll get better throughout recording. Also, before we get into things, I'd like to iterate the purpose of this channel. I'm sure for those of you that are paying attention to it, you see different content than usual. For now, all these podcast episodes and future ones will stay here. But in the future, once my channel has grown and I'm able to kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, split the community a little bit, I'll be putting the different types of content on another channel and keep one for gaming and fun stuff and the other for stuff that's more like this. Which goes where, I'm not sure yet, but it'll be figured out in time. Well, let's kick it off. A conversation I had recently was about high school, just reminiscing on high school. The people we remember and the memories we remember and so on. Checking on high school friends, stuff like that. To kind of hone in on a specific topic here, a thought that came to mind after having this conversation was how some people remember or hold on to high school memories a lot more than others. Now, I'm one of those people that doesn't really hold on to those memories. If you were to bring up a conversation with me or a memory from high school, after talking about it for a little bit, I can start remembering things. Obviously, we all remember things. But when it comes to remembering names or very specific details, not so much. And I think a lot of that comes from not really being interested in remembering that. In my case, high school wasn't the most appealing, as well as the negative experiences not really being something interesting, in my opinion, to keep holding on to. I do believe that there are things that are negative enough. There definitely are things that are negative enough to, even though you don't want to remember them, you do. But when it comes down to how it affects me and such, I don't really have anything about high school that I'm like, oh man, that really sucks. I wish that. Stuff like that. In talking about these older memories, something that I thought about was the people who hold on to those things. It's strange. It's strange to me. I don't find those memories very important or relevant to my daily living now. Especially being that I'm 26 years old now. Although I do know people, just when talking about this topic, there are definitely people in their 30s and even older that, they still function around the personality they had in high school, or just like bring it up and reminisce on it. Strange stuff. I think that just comes from like a place of disappointment or something. I think people, especially people who peak in high school, I think they peak and then they get out of high school and realize the real world doesn't really care about your whatever bullshit you were doing in high school, being funny or being good looking and so on and so forth doesn't really do anything for you in the real world. It definitely helps, for sure. I'm not going to be blind to the aspect of pretty privilege, but that definitely goes into politics, and kind of want to dodge that on this channel, so keeping it simple, keeping it individual here. But yeah, I think people who peaked in high school tend to hold on to high school memories a lot stronger, even if they're negative. And when they express those memories, when they share those memories with someone else, especially if those memories were shared with that someone else, when they don't get a response that matches their level of emotional importance or emphasis, I think that kind of puts back into loop that memory being something that needs to be brought up later. I think it comes down to like emotional validation. Quick, simple example, like, oh, remember when, Jane Doe did this, and oh my God, she looks so stupid, or just something like that. Something that involved watching, or a little bit of repetition here. Something that involved you being involved, or the person. Like, oh, remember when she did that? That was so dumb, right? Like, she looked so dumb. Personally, I don't care. I don't really care how the person looked back then. I think we all looked stupid in high school or middle school or whatever else. We all looked dumb. We all did dumb things. And so to bring somebody else down that did something dumb would just kind of be hypocritical, I guess. Even if that dumb thing was, they bring up like, oh, remember they bullied so-and-so and they were just we were all terrible people in some way, and if you weren't, then I don't know, God bless you or something, whatever. Yeah, staying on topic. To have memories that match somebody else's, but having a dissonance in the emotional impact, I think that's something to keep in mind. Oftentimes, I think we bring up memories or things that happen throughout our day, and when we express those things and they're not responded to in a way that matches our energy or excitement, it kind of throws it out the window, but pins it somewhere in the background. Something to be brought up at a later time. This obviously can just be equated to validation. We're just looking for validation. When it comes to having planned topics for the podcast, I usually just have something that's on my mind that I'd like to express and get out into the blank space. Maybe evoke something in you guys. Maybe it makes you feel validated. Oh, he thinks the same. Well, that's nice to know that somebody thinks the same as I do, or has the same perspective. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just entertaining to listen. Just need someone to listen to. Whatever the reason. I think that's part of the enjoyment of listening to these. It feels raw, as if somebody's sitting, or me, as if I'm sitting in front of you talking, speaking about something that's on my mind. A man to man, seeing eye to eye, and that's appealing to me. I enjoy that. I enjoy recording these for you guys. At some point in the future, I'd like to bring friends onto the podcast, have different episodes where I speak to them about topics, whether that's something we covered already and just getting their input, or other things like games. I think it's pretty clear by the channel's uploads and the fact that I have Diablo 2 as the background gameplay that I'm very into gaming and such. And I think it's fairly easy to relate gaming to real life experiences, or emphasize the importance of gaming and gaming experiences in daily living. Oh, speaking of just random ideas, shooting the shit here. The name of the podcast. In moving this over to being a podcast, you have to create a name on YouTube. You have to create a name for it, and you have to have like a thumbnail. Well, the first name that you'll see coming up is Beyond the HUD. I thought that was a cool name. I was looking around at stuff as well as asking AI for name ideas based on what I'll be talking about on here with myself and as well as when other people come on. I like that, Beyond the HUD, at least as a starting name. Aside of the podcast and gaming content on the channel, I do plan to have like passion projects, which will basically be varying duration, heavily edited videos of me reading things, specifically things I write down, thoughts and stuff. But it'll have like an edit with music and ambience and cinematics playing on the screen. That stuff always interested me. I always enjoyed watching those types of videos. So I'd like to have something like that incorporated into my content. Now that we've kind of got that out of the way, kind of talking about upcoming stuff on the channel and initial thoughts, what kind of games do you guys play? What kind of stuff do my listeners play? I feel like there's a commonality to playing older games or just classic games, source games, like old Diablo. I don't know. Just a commonality between enjoying classic games and listening to niche stuff, like whatever I'm talking about, whatever you want to consider it. Or maybe not. Maybe there isn't. Maybe you guys can prove me wrong on that. Personally, I've just been playing Diablo 2. I mainly do that for the recordings for the podcast now, but I definitely go through my stages of playing it a lot. Like, I kind of compare it to the, once a month, everybody get on Minecraft, we'll play for a couple days. But instead it's Diablo 2. Other than that, been playing Turtle WoW. It's a private server for World of Warcraft. Kind of plays like classic WoW. And then outside of that, just kind of whatever. For my upcoming video, I chose the topic of fear and how it can be translated into passion through the medium of art, as well as love. I'm really excited to get that video out for you guys. It's just been like a lot of hard work. I've never edited something so heavily, as well as having to watch out for, I have to make sure I'm following all the guidelines of how long you can show movie clips and stuff like that. I'll admit I'm kind of at a creative standstill with it a little bit, as to what clips to put into it and where to get them. I'm not a big movie watcher. I do enjoy the movies I do watch, but I don't watch a lot of movies. So not too much movie experience to be putting into the decision of clips that I put into there. In the future, you may also notice the thumbnails change on the Diablo series that are already uploaded. This is to make it a more wide reach audience. I know my current listeners, at least some of them, relate based on Diablo, but it'll always be interpreted somehow. Don't worry about that. I just want this to be more of like a podcast that talks about general topics, and I think that having them named after Diablo kind of narrows it down to a niche that's very small, when in reality I'm not even really talking about anything that has to do with Diablo. So the name of the series, as well as the name of the titles of the videos and the thumbnails, will probably change, but don't worry, it's still the same video with the same content and so on. In terms of what's talked about on here, it'll be relatively similar throughout in the future. The most sway that you'll see is, I'll talk about gaming or game related topics with friends or just on my own. But yeah, that's basically it. Just kind of a catch up for this podcast, talking about the plans for the channel and so on. As always, thank you for watching. Till next time.